All right, cool. Wait a second. Can you hear that? There's like a weird, yeah, there's a big voice of God echo. So, and there. Okay, cool. I've killed it now. Good, good. I have killed the voice of God.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Hello and welcome to Netflix versus Cinema. My name is Tosin and I am your host this week on the podcast that tries to look at what's going on in the cinema, what's going on in Netflix, rates films that we've seen this week out of 5, and then gets an average and says, oh look, you were better off spending your money this week in one or the other. With me, joining me on the Isle of Wight is Sharon. How are you doing, Sharon?
Hello, I'm well, thank you. How are the Midlands today?
The Midlands are scorching. They are absolutely scorching. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It's brilliant sunshine. I was up in my loft space earlier, and it is boiling up there. It's just kind of like, it's actually uncomfortable being in the loft space. But I mean, outside is pretty
Yeah.
nice. Well, what's it like on the island?
Well, it's been a bit cloudy today and a bit cooler, but that's quite a relief when you're working in it. So it's not been bad. We're hoping for rain. We're just hoping and hoping that we are going to get some.
Oh, all right, cool. So the island's actually then. So if it rains, it's not going to be people crying, going, "Oh my God, what happened to us?" It's going to be people going, "Oh, thank God, finally."
It's going to be like, everything needs the rain. We need the rain.
Although being,
And I've got,
sorry, you were saying.
no, I'm going to say, on the forecast, it looks like we've had rain, but it doesn't ever come. It just sort of passes us by.
Well, I just
So we're hoping.
Well, yeah, but I have a theory, right? That it's being British, whatever happens, whatever weather type we get, it's going to be a complaint. Oh my God, it's too cold.
Yes.
Oh my God, it's too hot. Oh my God, it's too wet. it's
It's the wrong weather at the wrong time, but
it's always the
so
wrong weather.
we're looking forward to rain if we get any.
All right, cool. So I was actually thinking this week of actually just before we even start, just saying, okay, that's it. Netflix has won this week because for some weird reason there seems to be nothing on. Nothing on.
No, what's happened at the cinema? Is it because, one company, is it like Disney owns everything, so they decide that, you know what, we're not going to compete with ourselves. We're just going to put one film out at a time. And so there is just no variety.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's just really 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 weird because I'm looking at I'm not sure whether okay because we've been doing podcasts together now for like what 3 4 years.
Yes, a long
Yeah,
time.
and all that time we keep going to the cinema, we keep seeing films and all that. But I don't think I've ever seen a time where I've thought, hang on, there is nothing new out as much as it is now.
No, that's right. Because genuinely, I do go at least once a week, and I haven't been for 2 weeks because they're literally just. I know we'd had like Hobson Shaw last week we reviewed, but the last month I've really thought I'm going to have to see something. I think I've looked and I thought there's got to be something there for a grown up to watch, and there just hasn't been. And I don't think I've remember a period of this length of time where there's not been either an independent film or, you know, that's one of the sort of low key films that sort of crept onto the radar. I just don't. There just hasn't been the volume of films that we used to get. So I don't know whether that's just a sort of the economy or whether it's people are holding films back because they don't want to clash with things like The Lion King or the Spider-Man film. But I don't know what it is, or the Hobson Shaw film. They think, oh, Fast and Furious, we've got to make room for that. I don't know what the reason is, but it's certainly been a bit of a desert in the cinema at the moment.
You see, things like this make me think that overall Netflix might be winning. So we talk about Netflix versus cinema, and I'm thinking, yeah, Netflix might be winning this thing because if there's such a dearth of stuff at the cinema, there's nothing to go see. You're just going to sit at home and watch Netflix. So
Yeah.
that becomes the normal. So, but anyway, I just thought just to sort of prove my point, I thought I'll go through the films that I actually own in our local cinema, the one I usually go to, and we
Yes.
have. So today we have The Lion King. We've seen it. We reviewed it.
Seen it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. Seen it, reviewed it. Toy Story 4, seen it, reviewed it. Spider-Man Far From Home, seen it, reviewed it. Yesterday, seen it, reviewed it.
Yep, that's all of them.
Yeah,
And you saw the current war as well, didn't you?
I saw the current war, which seems to have disappeared already. It seems like that was like a week review or something like a week. Yeah. So I mean, hopefully, okay. Looking at the things for tomorrow, it looks like a little bit better. We have the Lion King, Fast and Furious, or well, rather, call it Hobbs and Shaw, Toy Story 4. We have Playmobil the movie, which I know you will not be watching.
No, I think that's assured of that one.
Yeah, yeah. Angry Birds movie two, which I know you will not be watching. Blinded by the
No.
Light. Now that does look like a movie for grown-ups.
Oh yes, the Bruce Springsteen soundtracked film, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. The thing
Yeah.
about the Pakistani youth in growing up in Luton in the 80s who ends up with a love for Bruce Springsteen. Yeah, that looks
Yeah,
like a,
that sounds promising. That looks
yeah.
good.
Spider-Man Far From Home. Then we have a film called The Art of Racing in the Rain, which probably wins
Uh,
it wins my award for the worst title of the year so far.
yes. I know it's based on a book, isn't it?
Probably with a title like that, it better be.
Yes.
They
But I
better
know
have a
it's
good reason for calling it that.
yeah, I mean I know it's about this like the narrating dog and I'm like, yeah, no thank you.
Yeah. Then yesterday, Annabelle comes home. Pokemon Detective Pikachu. So yeah, there really is not much out there. Yeah, I mean, this week I had friends visiting from Hong Kong. So hey, Katie. Oh, well, Mike wasn't here. Katie was here, but she came along with her three kids. So we essentially I went back and saw The Lion King again. And saw
Yeah.
quite a bit of stuff just sitting at home on Netflix, and I'm thinking, I've got to admit, it feels like a losing battle for cinema. It really, really, really does.
Yes, I think it's gonna struggle.
Yeah, oh wow. And anyway, I'll put myself like my sadness about that aside for a second. So and I just wanted
Yeah,
to
I mean we do this because we love the cinema and we like the cinematic experience, but it's like, come on, give us something.
yeah, no, I mean it feels like it's changing. I don't want to bang on too much about it. It does feel like it's changing. I don't want to sort of like get onto a soapbox and start like crying and everything like that. Look at it, people. Look at it. Look at the state of the world we're in. I know there's other things to bang a drum about, but it does make me a bit sad that it seems gone are the days where every week you would have a new release. That it just
Yes.
yeah, or it just seems. I don't think it's been. I think this is different. This feels different. It doesn't. It feels like this hasn't happened for a long time, but now all of a sudden it's just like a dearth. Anyway, but wanted to kick off by talking about the Lion King. Oh,
Yes, you did a rewatch.
I did a rewatch because obviously this time I went there with three kids under the age of 10 to go to watch the Lion King because I'd seen it. Obviously, they hadn't seen it, and seeing it the second time is actually a bit funny because felt like when I watched this time, I felt almost as if I was more able to divorce it from the original. So I wasn't going
Okay.
in, yeah, I wasn't going in there going, well, these people are just remaking this film. Why do they have to remake this film? I'm just gonna sit here and be like, all. I was able to go, okay, let's just try and take this film on its own merits. Now, everything I said in my review last week or the week before, I still hold to. I still do feel like it's a bit anemic. I still do feel as if it has magic missing from it, everything like that. But I had a
Mm.
much better time with this film the second time I watched it. So, so I would give it 3 stars and everything. But I think the second time round, I was like, okay, all right, okay, yeah, that kind of works. Yeah, I still do feel like if this had been the first one that was released, it would not be seen as the classic. It's still technically a Marvel, but I just thought
Yes.
I just thought I need to say something like that, just in case I was a little bit harsh the last time. I just say, just in case I was a little bit harsh, that I watched it again, had a better time with it. But I do think that everything I said in the review still stands about the
Yeah.
strengths and the weaknesses of the film and the whole thing of taking and replacing. Of going back and touching something that was magical and trying to make it again and trying to catch lightning in a bottle twice. I don't think they've done that. But I just wanted to say, had a
No.
better time with it the second time round. Managed to divorce it a bit more from the original. So there. Well
Mm.
done to all
Well, that's
involved.
encouraging. That's
Well,
encouraging. What did I know? We never mentioned it the last time, but what did you think of the new Beyonce song,
oh, I do not
Spirit?
like it.
I thought it was. Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I thought it was something or nothing. It was
Yeah,
just Beyonce singing Spirit over and over and over again, and I just thought
Yeah,
didn't add anything at all.
yeah. I feel like it's Beyonce. The first thing that comes to my head is warbling. Is warbling over the just like,
Yeah,
and
we said twiddly bits. He said there's all the Beyonce twiddly bits in there.
yeah, and I don't know. This, oh, okay. I'm about. I can feel it. I can feel the rage building. I can feel I can feel a rant coming on.
The red mist is just yeah.
I can feel the rant coming on because especially at that point, right, in the well, I think the original soundtrack that they used in the film for that point, where because it's used when Simba's running back home. The original
Yes, they're heading
soundtrack,
back towards the Pride Lands or whatever. Yeah.
head back towards the Pride Lands. The original song that was used there, great. I mean, the original music that was used there, great. In the stage musical, they have for me, the best song in the entire Lion King world is a song called "He Lives in You," and that song is kick ass. They have a South African language version of that song over the end credits. And even there, I sat down in the cinema and listened all the way to the end of it because I was like, that is such a good song.
That's a good song. Yeah.
And to not use that song there, but instead come up with this new, what I think is they're going to be trying to go for best original song at the Oscars, and to put something that has nothing to it in there, I just feel is like it's a sin.
Yeah.
And so I don't like it. I don't like it, but I'm trying to just sort of like, Sharon, you see, you got me on a rant. I was trying to give the film a compliment.
Yeah, you're trying to be mellow and be all chilled about it.
Yeah,
but no, because we never discussed the soundtrack before. Because I know with when they've rejigged the animated films into live action or whatever they do, not that they haven't used real lions in The Lion King. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but apparently there's one shot of a real lion.
They've added, yeah. Is there really?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. They put it in there so that to see if you can tell the difference.
Oh, but yeah, they tend to. I know they've added new songs, haven't they, to the various musical ones? Anyway, I know they did in Beauty and the Beast, and
yes, they did.
They did in. Did they do it in Aladdin? Add a new song?
Yes, they did. That one was.
Is that the one I will not be silent or what?
Yes.
Is that the new song? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know it's a thing. They add a new song. So, but I know we didn't discuss it the last time we talked about Lion King. So
yeah.
I did want to just get your opinion on that as someone who knows the original soundtrack probably very well.
Yeah.
Whether it adds anything or not. I mean, I'm not an expert on any of these films that they rejig. So to me, when they start doing a song, I think, I don't know that it's not a new song.
Yeah.
So every now and then you think that's a slightly different tone or a slightly different mood to the others.
Yeah, sometimes it jars. I think the most successful time that they've done it was in Beauty and the Beast.
With Evermore.
Yeah, with Evermore, and Evermore is a good song. It's a good song. It doesn't stick out compared to all the other songs. It feels like it's part of a whole. In Aladdin, that new song "Speechless" sticks out like a sore thumb. It's just you're like this is not like
this is not Aladdin.
Yeah, how all of a sudden we've gone into Frozen. What's going on? And and I think in this as well, I think this Spirit song, it sticks out like a sore thumb, mainly because, well, it just sounds different from everything else. It's been Beyonce-fied. And I don't know. I know that they do have some sort of like, South African rhythms in there and all that, but it doesn't fit. I don't think it fits.
No, because I only noticed it because I thought, what's going on here? Because I didn't know the soundtrack very well, but I knew that that was like the odd one out.
yeah, it sticks out. It sticks out, and they need to stop doing it. They need to stop doing that. At least if you're going to do something like that, make sure that it fits. Make sure that it sort of like gels. Don't just chuck something in there. But anyway, breathe. Calm
but
down.
we've addressed an issue that was on both of our hearts, obviously, but we didn't express it.
Okay, cool. But anyway, as I said, I went back to see the film and I had a better time with it the second time round.
Hey, good. We end on a positive.
Yes. Oh, good. I just remembered something else I can complain about. Moving on. So okay, we're gonna go into the actual sort of like reviewing, and as you said, there isn't much
Yeah.
this week. So we have one film from cinema, and um we have one film from cinema, and we have two films that we've seen, two things that we've seen at home. So obviously we
Yes.
have two TV series which we did not review last week. We spoke about them in our also ran section last week, and
Yep.
we didn't review them because we said that well, our rule is that if you're going to
We
talk
have.
about, sorry, carry on, Sharon. Our rule
No, I was
is
going to say the rule is we have to have seen the whole series or the whole season before we can review it.
yes, if you're going to be talking about something like that. So you were talking you. So I think let's kick off with Netflix because, as I say, I'm pretty sure this week Netflix has won just by dint of having more stuff that is actually watchable.
Yeah.
So to say,
Well, actually, I watched this on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. Okay, yes, you saw this on Amazon Prime, and also my thing is also an Amazon Prime thing. But but when it comes to the main film, I have a good connection with Netflix thing on there. But okay, so
Cool.
on Amazon Prime, you were watching Ride with Norman Reedus.
Ride with Norman Reedus, yes.
Yeah,
So
so
I won't assume that everyone who's listening listened to last week, so I'll give a little introduction to it.
Okay.
Basically, Ride with Norman Reedus is one of the actors from The Walking Dead. He plays Daryl Dixon, who in The Walking Dead is a bit of a biker.
yep,
He has a motorbike and he wears leathers, and the real Norman Reedus is a motorbike enthusiast. He's been riding since he was in his teens, and so in this series, he's got together with different friends. Some of them are well known, some of them are not. They're just his friends, and they go on these motorbike rides, and they're normally quite long. In terms of distances, they're sort of hundreds of miles they travel in the course of like a few days. But in the series, he goes on a different journey with a different friend, and obviously makes a film about it. So in season 1, the first episode is the Pacific Highway. So he goes from Los Angeles up through to North California to where the redwoods are, and he stops along at all the different points of interest on the way. If they're quirky, if they're about, he meets motorcycle builders, and he goes to like biker bars. That is a theme that runs throughout the series, that he does try to sort of have like the biker experience of doing these rides.
yeah,
But yeah, they've been really interesting. There's one they did Death Valley, riding through the desert from Las Vegas. They did the Appalachian Mountains,
cool.
just north of, in the south, where they filmed The Walking Dead, and the
Right.
one, and they also did going down around the Louisiana bayous into New Orleans,
Yep.
and that's
are
a
all-
whole. Yeah. Okay, yeah, good, cool stuff. And then the last one was in the Florida Keys, and this last one I thought was interesting because it was the first celebrity that I recognised. But he did the Florida Keys with Peter Fonda, who is like a motorcycle legend, really, because he did Easy Rider. Yeah, and what was quite interesting about that particular episode, it was the last episode in the season, was that he's walking around sort of Florida. They stop at certain towns and they go to different bars and places and try to get the authentic experience of being there. And some people take one look at Norman Reedus and go, Daryl, Daryl, and they start, can I have a picture? And they start mobbing him. And
Yep.
then they went into a biker bar and everyone's going, it's Peter Fonda, it's Peter Fonda. And they were going up to Norman Reedus saying, how is it you're here with Peter Fonda? Whereas with the 20-somethings, they were like, I have no idea who you are. He's like his dad. They just have no idea who Peter Fonda is. And it's quite funny when you see him taking a step back and watching, this was him 40 years ago, when he would not be able to walk down the streets without attention. Now
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
the one that he's like anonymous.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Norman Reedus is like being mobbed everywhere he went.
yeah.
But he's very nice about it. I think the one thing you get from the show is, one, he's got a real genuine passion for bikes, and that he's genuinely interested in people. Wherever he goes, he talks to people, and you see them like do like a montage of stuff, and you get the feeling that after he's stopped filming, he's still there chatting with the people he's met, and
Yep.
he's mixing with them.
Yep.
And also that he's much more articulate and artistic than you think he is, because we only know him. I know we shouldn't judge an actor by the character he plays, But so often we tend to think of them as that one, especially if they're only known for one character.
Well, the thing with Norman Reedus is that I think he fits Daryl so well that even in the 2 episodes of Walking Dead that I've seen, it's hard to escape the feeling that he's playing himself.
Yeah, I think that's how he does it. He's so good at it. But when you
Yeah.
sort of get a glimpse of the real Norman Reedus, yeah, he's much more articulate, more friendly, more affectionate. Um, yeah, and he's just has he's got a real artistic eye. I didn't realise that he didn't start off as an actor, or he started off as an artist, and he
Oh
was
yeah.
studying art, and then he sort of fell into modelling, and then he started acting later. So in his 20s, he lived in Japan for a while, he lived in Britain for a while, and he lived in Spain, just pursuing his art basically before
All right.
he did any of the modelling or the acting.
All right.
So yeah, he sort of takes photographs all the time, and you see some of the pictures he's taken, and he does art exhibitions and stuff. So he's much more of an interesting person than just Daryl Dixon. So I was really liked the fact that you got to see a glimpse of someone who we've all formed an opinion of based on this one particular role, and
Yeah.
and he's so much more than that. So I was really I really enjoyed sort of seeing that, sort of making that discovery, really, that actually, I know we should not fool ourselves into thinking that actors are the characters they play,
Yeah.
but you can't help it sometimes. You just fall into that pattern. But yeah, it's interesting to sort of get a glimpse of this much more interesting man than this one role. So I really enjoyed it, and as someone who's been surrounded by motorbikes all my life, because my brothers have been, one brother in particular has been a motorcyclist since he was sort of before he was legally able to ride motorbikes. He rode motorbikes.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
And he
I've
goes
been
on
to your
biking
I've been to your
holidays.
house. I've been to your house. I've seen the shed, so yeah, I can attest to that.
Yeah, he's just he builds bikes, he rides bikes, he goes on holiday on motorbikes. And in my teens, I was a member of not a motorcycle group, but my friend was a keen motorcyclist, and so we would go everywhere together. I would be her pillion, and so
Oh
I've
yeah,
been riding motorbikes as a pillion passenger since
yeah.
I was in my teens as well. So I've been aware of that motorbike world for a long time. So, but even if you're not a motorbike enthusiast, there's a joy to these programs about the scenery, about sort of the just appreciating the off the beaten track in some ways,
Yep.
sort of travel logs. But yeah, so I really have enjoyed them.
Oh, cool. Good stuff. And how many stars would you give Norman Reedus? Writing.
I would give it a definite 4-star.
Oh, cool. Good stuff. Good
I
stuff.
think, yeah, I hesitate to give anything full marks. I know we do occasionally, but I would say definitely a 4-star, because if they have an American habit of where they have commercial breaks all the way through, and you get this bit saying coming up in the show, and it's like, just show it to us. Why show us what's coming? Just play it. So we don't do that in British programs, but they do a lot. I've noticed in American programs, just before an American ad break, they go coming up next, just so you'll stay tuned. But when you're watching it on a streaming site, you don't get commercial breaks. You just want to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
but
found
you
those,
still,
that's a slight
but you still get a
niggle
bit
to
of
me.
the show that says coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So 4 stars for that. So you'll definitely be
Yeah.
back for season 2.
Yes, I've already watched that. I would read the book if they made one. But no, I have seen the first episode where he goes riding around Spain with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who plays Negan
Ooh.
in The Walking Dead. So you get
Oh, yeah.
double Walking Dead whammy there.
Yeah.
But I've only managed to watch the first one, so I will try to watch some more of those.
All right, cool. Good stuff. All right, and now let's go over to the one cinematic movie that we have this week, which I went to see, which was the Angry Birds movie 2. Now, the fact that I went to see this film tells you that there was literally nothing else for me to see. because Angry Birds, this is a film, when the first one was made, I didn't see the first one before seeing this film. And when the first one was made, I was just kind of like, I am not watching that film. This is a cynical money grab. Angry Birds, it's an app. It's a video game. Okay, first of all, movies based on video games tend not to do well because usually the whole idea... Have you ever played Angry Birds on the phone?
No, never.
So the whole idea of this video game, it's kind of like, imagine you're going bowling, but
Yeah.
instead of throwing a bowling ball at pins, you're throwing a bird at pigs.
Okay, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Like most apps, like most things, like Candy Crush. What is that? But but but
Yeah.
but I bet you that somebody is working on a Candy Crush movie, even though it makes no sense.
Yeah.
So and whenever you have these things that when they try and make them into a film, what they do is that they bend themselves into pretzel shapes, just trying to get this thing that doesn't have a storyline to have a narrative to make sense. And I'm like, why bother? Just no, just let it be, for goodness sake. So I didn't see the first Angry Birds movie. I mean, I didn't understand why, because I played the game when it first came out. I remember when it first came out, I played it on my iPhone 3GS. And for those of you who've been following your phones, to tell you how long ago that was. And I thought, yeah, okay. And they said, oh, you want to pay for the full thing? I'm like, no, I don't want to pay for the full thing. But that's all there seems to be to the game. And I have a particular bone to pick. I realize that I think maybe I'm getting older and grumpier, but I seem to be having a bone to pick with a lot more things nowadays. And I have a particular bone to pick with Angry Birds in that they were probably the one bad thing about when I proposed to my wife.
All right.
Yeah, because I proposed to my wife in Singapore, and at the time we did it in 2013, at the time we did it, there seemed to be this Angry Birds takeover of definitely of Singapore, but from what I heard, it was going across Southeast Asia because a friend of mine, Anthony Lim, he when I put up something going, oh my, what is up with Angry Birds? They're taking over Singapore. He was in Hong Kong and he was like, yep, they've taken over Hong Kong too. Same thing over here. So everywhere you went, it was Angry Birds plushies. Everywhere I proposed to my wife on a cable car going up to a mountain in Singapore called Mount Faber, and we were sat on Angry Birds cushions, and there was an Angry Birds sticker on the wall. And I was like, what is going on? Why are there
Yeah,
Angry
that's
Birds everywhere?
what a way to make a beautiful memory.
Yes, I know. So they're like the one thing about that makes me go, oh man, I wish that wasn't there. But
Yeah, I
but
wish I could have thrown them out of the cable car. Yeah.
yes, if they let me open the windows, I would have. But 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 hey, she said yes, so I don't care.
Hey, win-win.
Exactly. So I've had this issue with them. So I went to see this film just because there was nothing else, and going in that negative, I'm glad to say that this was not as bad as I thought it would be.
Hey,
Yes, it would. I mean, I did fall asleep in the film. Make of that what
okay.
you will. Make of that what you will. I did fall asleep during the film, but it was not as bad as I thought. So the essentially this is one of those films when you come into the second one, the setup of it makes you know that there's a story in the first one that you've missed, and it's up to you whether you can be bothered to go find it. But there's a character called Red who is pretty much the main bird that you use in the Angry Birds game, and
I think I know what he looks like.
it's the
I know he's like red with a beak, but you know
yeah
what I mean. He's got he's a
yeah.
beaky bird.
Beaky bird, big eyebrows. So
Yeah.
so you have Red, and they all keep some sort of characteristics from the game. So he is the angry bird. He is like, but something has happened in the first film, and now he is the hero of Bird Island, which is where they all live. So they've come up with this whole thing, hero of Bird Island, and everybody loves him and all that kind of stuff. And there's this running feud going on between Bird Island and Pig Island, where they keep playing pranks on each other, and he's like the captain that says that everybody loves him because of this. Then one day, like while they're playing pranks on each other, a massive sort of ice cannon or ice cannonball falls out of the sky on Pig Island, and they're like, "What? Where did that come from?" And they realize it didn't come from Bird Island; it came from another island called Eagle Island. And so
Oh.
they ask for a truce between Bird Island and Pig Island. They say, okay, let's have a truce because we need to go fight this other threat. And this is where they do the first thing where I'm thinking, okay, they're trying to do something a little bit different with this. So Red, he doesn't want there to be a truce, because if there's no truce, he's no longer the hero because there's nobody to fight against. So
Ah.
yeah, so he starts going, no, we gotta be fighting until he realizes that there's a bigger threat, and then they all get together and they decide to go fight against the Eagle Island. Thankfully, now this film seems to it doesn't spend a lot of time on setup, which I thank them for. It goes straight into it. It goes right, boom, 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 boom. This is it. That's it. cool, we're going. And then when it turns into almost kind of like, one of these men on a mission or pigs and birds on a mission kind of movies where they're like, right, we need to put
Yeah.
together a team. You're this, you're that, you're that. And when it does that, the film becomes a lot better. And that bit of it is actually quite exciting. And that was the bit I woke up afterwards to actually keep watching. Because,
Cool.
Yeah, because there wasn't much. There isn't much in this film to actually keep you. What? Okay, it's made for kids. You were complaining about films being made for adults. This film is made for kids.
Yeah.
There isn't much in the film to keep you engaged if you're not a kid. If you don't go,
Yeah.
ooh, pretty colors. There isn't much in the film to keep you engaged. But it made me start questioning. I was like, if something is predictable, does that immediately make it bad? What's your thoughts on that?
I don't think it is. No, I think it's not it's the telling of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It can be predictable, but it doesn't. It can still be well written and well told.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you only have to watch Romeo and Juliet once to know how it ends. Well, you know how it ends from the very beginning, so it's entirely predictable because you're told how it ends. But it's not the ending. It's the journey, to use the trite expression. So I think predictability is not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay, cool. Good, because I think I've started thinking that predictability is a bad thing. So there were things that I was like, okay, well, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, that's going to happen. And I just sort of saw all these dominoes, and I saw how they were going to affect the rest of the story as it was going along. And it made me think, maybe I've been watching way too many films, I've become too cynical, or going into my whole grumpy old man thing. But people were laughing.
But
and not just kids.
You're thinking, but it's so obvious.
Yeah, not just kids. I was like, well, why are you laughing? It was really obvious what was going to happen. And I was like, maybe it is still funny, even though it is obvious. So it's weird that I end up having a philosophical discussion with myself in Angry Birds 2. Just going, if it's predictable, does that mean it's no longer funny? Ooh, I don't know. Maybe
if you can see it coming, does it mean? No, but I think it's the way it's, again, I think it's the way it's delivered as well. But like most horror films, I know this is like Sean's bugbear, isn't it? That horror films can be entirely predictable, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean that it cannot still be effective. You can just see what is coming.
Yeah.
It's signposted. But I think if we're, as you say, as you're a regular cinema goer, like if you're a regular reader, you can read a book and you think, they've only introduced this character because they're going to be relevant later on. Yes. And if this is a murder mystery, that means they're probably going to be a suspect, or they're a red herring. You're supposed to believe they're a suspect. So you can read the signs because you've read enough to know what to know how these things work.
Yeah.
I think if we watch a lot of films, it's the same thing because we know how directors set up a plot. That they will introduce something early on, and you'll think, well, that's going to have to be relevant because why do that?
Yeah.
Then I don't think it's a bad thing. It just means that we know how to read the signs of a journey before we get there. Yeah.
Well, okay, cool. Thank you. Very succinctly put, Sharon. But I think it's at the end of the day, I just I mean, people were laughing when they were watching it. I think it'll be a good thing. If you have small kids, take them with you. They will enjoy it. And after I watched that, I decided to go back, even while I was in the cinema. So it tells you how riveted I was by this film to begin with. While I was in the cinema, I was looking at my phone, going on Netflix and going, I wonder if they have the first and Netflix does have the first Angry Birds movie on.
Okay.
So I decided to go and watch that earlier today. It's not as good as the second one.
Okay.
Essentially, I have 100% record now of falling asleep in an Angry Birds movie.
Yes. You know what, Tosin? You're not tempting me to go and find these two films.
Oh no! Oh, good Lord, Sharon! Look, I love animation, and I love animation. I know you don't.
Yes.
And I'm on a constant quest to get you to watch good animation. And no, stay away from this film. This will make my job way harder.
Okay. This will not be the film that breaks my aversion to
animation.
it will
not. It will not be the film. Oh, please stay away from this film because it will make my job trying to get you to watch good animation a lot harder.
Well, I've seen Toy Story 4 this year, so that's my animation quota for the year. As far as I'm concerned.
Yes, I know. I know.
I've seen one. That's it. We're there.
Yeah.
Done.
So Yeah, I think the first one is a lot more of the cynical. The first one has a lot less of a story to tell because you can feel them doing the whole pretzel thing, trying to take the
Yeah.
basic premise of the game and make it into a film that with a narrative that you can give 90 minutes of your time. And I couldn't I kept I was watching it on Netflix and I kept looking to see how much time was left. I'm like, what? Another hour? Oh, okay, cool. We must only have like 20. What? 45 minutes? No. so,
Yes.
so I
I
think
don't. I must admit, I've watched films like that, and you're thinking, oh, really? Just end.
yes, yes. I'm like, just end. We know what's gonna happen. We know what story they're gonna learn. Don't be angry. Oh my god. Work with other people. I get it. So,
The end, please. Yeah.
yes, yes. So maybe because I saw this, maybe because I had such low expectations, maybe because after seeing the second one, I went to see the first one, and I think the first one is a disjointed mess. Um, I would give this a 3.
Okay.
But, yeah, but
Solid, but unexciting.
solid, unexciting, but be warned. I mean,
Yeah.
it has an amazing. Both films have an amazing voice cast. I mean, everything from Jason Sudeikis to Peter Dinklage to Leslie Jones, Maya Rudolph. It has they.
Wow.
And it's the kind of cast you can only get together for animation because you don't need them all around at the same time.
No, they can do their bit and
Yeah, they can do a
email
bit.
it, can't they?
Yeah, exactly. And it's and Rachel Bloom. Rachel Bloom shows up in the second one, and Rachel Bloom is somebody who I don't think a lot of people know, but fans of a show which is on Netflix called Crazy Ex-Girlfriend would know who she is. She,
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you might like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Yeah, I don't know that and the actress's name. I don't know. I can't visualize anyone by that name. But yes, it's something I
Yeah.
possibly.
Okay, I'll give you the basic premise of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I think you'll like it. It's essentially this woman she's a lawyer in New York. She's been on this sort of career track, and one day she's told that she's going to be made a partner, and then she realizes, you know what, this is not actually what I want to do. She runs out in a panic attack from her office and sees this guy who used to be her crush and her boyfriend when she was at summer camp when she was 14. And she's like, oh my
Right.
God, it's a sign. Look, it's him. It's Josh Chan. It's a sign. And she has a chat with him. He says, oh, I'm leaving New York because New York is too hard. I'm going back to my hometown of West Covina in California. And on an impulse, she decides to just pack up everything and go to West Covina because she's hoping that she's going to get back together with this guy. And
Okay.
yeah, and that's the basic premise of the show. But it's a homage to musicals. So every single episode has a song in it. Has at least
Oh.
has at least one song in it in every single episode. So think about the
Now
musical.
I'm more interested. Yeah.
I know what you like. I know what you like, and
Yeah.
this is where the hook is. So if you think about every single think about all the sort of like musical episodes of your favorite shows. So I think Supernatural's done one. I know
Buffy.
Fringe did one. Buffy
Yeah.
did one. So
Scrubs did one back in
yes,
the day.
Scrubs did one. And it's Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Almost every episode is like that musical episode from that show you like.
All right.
Yeah, I've watched most of it. I have to admit I can't really review it because I watched most of it over my wife's shoulder. So I would watch stuff, walk away because the central character I found her a bit annoying after a while. But it's created by stars Rachel Bloom, and some of the songs are hilarious. There's one which is a classic called the Sexy Getting Ready song, which is singing about all the things women do when they're trying to get ready for a date with a man.
Okay.
Yeah, so Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, if you can, I would recommend it. I think
Oh, I'll have to try.
yeah, it's clever. It's clever, it's funny. It had, oh my word. There's a song in it that I absolutely love, and that would be like, if you gave me a chance to perform one song in front of a crowd, it would be this song. The title of which I don't feel I can say right now. But
Okay.
but yeah, Crazy, she's in Angry Birds 2, and I can see why she's taking the role because the character that she plays is the brains of the operation, but it's a woman who is undoubtedly the brains of the operation. So I can understand why she did that, and especially if you're doing something for kids and you're trying to show them that look, women can be engineers too. I can totally understand that.
Cool.
So yeah, but anyway, 3 stars for Angry Birds movie 2. And now we go into The Boys, which is what I was talking about last week on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
And this is
Superheroes as nasty people.
superheroes as celebrities. So
Yes, and narcissistic celebrities at that.
exactly. So if you think about the worst excesses of celebrity and the celebrity culture and everything like that, but you put superheroes in that, that's essentially what this show is. And it's so you have in the world of this show, superheroes are real. Superheroes have been around for a while, but they star in films, they star in movies and all that. So you have this corporation called the Vought Corporation, and Vought, what they do is their only product is superheroes. They seem to own superheroes image rights. So it's essentially, if you think about it, they're kind of like Disney. And imagine, you know how Disney owned all the superheroes from Marvel.
Yes.
So Vought is like this big thing. So imagine if Disney had all these superheroes, but imagine if Iron Man, Thor were real people, but just owned by Disney and managed by Disney. So they star in movies, they have TV shows, they have merchandising and all that kind of stuff. And they're just seen as, oh my God, these people is the Homelander. Even though, and their number one superhero group that they have a whole bunch of different superhero groups. Number one superhero group is one called the Seven. And the Seven they're not even trying to hide the fact that this is a pastiche of the Justice League. So you have one character called the Homelander, who is obviously Superman. He has Superman's powers. Everything he does is Superman. You have Queen Maeve, who's Wonder Woman. You have the Deep, who's Aquaman. You have A-Train, who is Flash. And so essentially, these characters are all just from they're from the Justice League. The original comic, when it was written because the creator, I keep forgetting which one it is. I think it's Garth Ennis. He doesn't particularly like superheroes, and he was like, look, this is the problem with superheroes. This is what they would actually be like. They would think that humans were beneath them. They wouldn't care about life. Like, how people complain about all the superhero movies where they're just throwing themselves around through different cities and not caring about human life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at the beginning of The Boys, they have an incident that really, really brings home how true that is. Like I think it's in visceral detail. I think that the comic, because I read the comic, I read the entire thing. I think it brings it a lot more graphically than the TV series can. But then again, I think they would find it really, really hard to do what was in the comic on TV. You would just
right.
Because I feel like it works if you read it or if you see a drawing of it or anything like that. And it's one of these case studies for what works in print that might not work on screen.
Yes.
Yeah, because I feel like if you did what they did in the comic on screen, it would just be unpleasant. You just wouldn't want to watch that. So they've rejigged the story a bit. They've changed it around. You've got Carl Urban, who plays a character called Billy Butcher, who has a vendetta against superheroes. He thinks they're all bad. He thinks, I don't care what they say. They're all lies. They say that they're fighting crime, but behind the scenes, they are horrible people. They are a bunch of depraved people who need to be stopped. And that's his whole thing. You have a character called Huey, who loses somebody that he loves to a superhero. And so he gets sort of recruited in because they think, yeah, you are the kind of person who we need. You do not like superheroes. And they have this whole thing where they bring a team together. The way the team is brought together in the TV series is different from the way it's brought together in the comic. They've rejigged things, and I think they've done it quite cleverly. And I think they've done a really good job of bringing the story to life in the comic. There's some stuff that they haven't touched on, which I'm guessing that because this is the kind of thing we know it's an American TV show. Once they make a TV show, they're going to be planning to do another season. So I think there's some stuff they've left for other seasons, but they've also changed the story because there's bits of it I'm thinking they're burning through a lot of the story and that they changed the story so that there's bits in it where so you can see where they would go in the second season.
Yes.
You can see
they've left themselves room to expand.
They left themselves room to expand, which okay, we've all had this conversation about Game of Thrones and what happened when Game of Thrones ran out of story and what they did with it and how it changed and all that sort of stuff. And that is it was that when they stopped having bits to pick from the books, and they start expanding on it, will it still be as good? Or but at the moment, it's good. They haven't run out of story. It's eight episodes for this first season. I think it's quite good. I prefer the comic book, but I feel like that what they've done is probably as best as they could have done. The way they
Yes.
handle the characters, I feel like the character of Billy Butcher, who's played by Carl Urban in the TV show, is another thing you can do graphically. He's just big and imposing, and he's you feel like even when he's being friendly and even when he's being pally, there's this underlying menace that you get just from
Yeah.
reading the comic. You're like, this guy is not good, and and it doesn't come across. It doesn't come across as well in the TV show. But I think that they all do a good job. I think all of them do a good job, and I love the fact that they have, because if you read the original comic, the main character of Huey, who's called Wee Huey because he's Scottish, they made him American in the TV show, but he's Scottish. Billy Butcher's English. They've kept Billy Butcher's English in the TV show as Cockney. The main character of Huey looks very familiar, and he actually has Simon Pegg's face. So
Okay.
and the creator said that he was watching an episode of Spaced, saw Simon Pegg and went, "Oh, that looks like the kind of guy who I would put it." And so he just drew this guy as Simon Pegg. And in the collected editions that I have, Simon Pegg has written the foreword, and he said, "Oh my God, it's so great to be immortalized this way when I saw my face on this character." And Simon Pegg shows up in the TV show.
Oh, does he? Oh, good.
Yeah, and it's one of these Easter eggs that once he showed up, I was like, "Ah, yeah!"
I get it. No one else will get it, but I get it because
Yeah.
I know stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly,
That's
exactly. And because it's made by it's executive produced by Seth Rogen and Evan
Okay.
Goldberg, who've done a whole bunch. They did Superbad, that and all that. So there's a lot of pop culture-y knowledge. There's a lot of nod, wink, wink stuff. There's stuff that
Yeah.
they do. There's stuff they do with the TV show about one of these superheroes who, when he was a kid, was in a TV show, and where he could read minds. And I think what they do with it, there's just within about a 10-second space, there's about 3 Easter eggs that make me laugh out loud. I was like, oh my God, oh no way, they've done that. So I think it's a really, really good show. I think that they all I can say is watch it, because as you might realize I'm trying to talk around things because I feel
Yes,
like,
you don't want to give any plot away,
yeah,
which is
I
fair
don't-
enough.
I don't want to give any plot away, because if I start talking about how they've changed this from the book or anything like that, then it spoils both the book and the TV show. But
Yes.
I would say it's good, and especially if you don't like superheroes, it's a satire on exactly what superheroes are doing in the world nowadays. So there's bits about it that I'm like, this is like a really clever, multi-layered thing about the way Hollywood is how Hollywood is being taken over by superheroes, and how, like, you know what we're talking about the fact that there's nothing in cinemas there's just nothing in cinemas, because
Yes.
everything's been taken over by superheroes and big corporations who are just and it's like this is a big thing, and there's a really clever thing about how they're trying to get superheroes into the military, and the way in which the way that storyline goes about getting superheroes into the military, it's like it becomes a satire of politics and all that kind of stuff. I think it's really good. I would give the first season, so this is The Boys season 1, I would give season 1 4 stars. And
Wow, good.
yeah, I hope it continues. I'm intrigued to see what they're doing and how they're changing it from the original story, because as I said, I love the original story, but we'll see what happens as we go along. I'll give it 4 stars. I'll recommend going along and having a having a look.
Yes.
Although if you're a massive Superman fan, you might not like what they do with the Superman facsimile in this.
Okay. It's certainly one that I've looked at and thought, yeah, that's going to be on my to-watch list at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can really recommend it.
It's sort of, interests me. Yeah, that sounds good. 4 stars. Good.
Yep. So, you know what we're talking about things being predictable earlier? Does it make it any less
Yes.
good if it's predictable? I hope this show.
I'm still excited.
Yeah, I hope this show is still is good, because we predicted it from the beginning. We told you what was going to happen. So,
And yet you still listened? Hey.
Yeah, I hope if you're still listening at this point in time, thank you. Thank you for still listening. You made it all the way to the end. So all that's left to say is who won this week, and the answer, which we told you at the beginning of the show, is Netflix. I guess Netflix and Friends, because the two shows we spoke about were actually Amazon Prime, which is by a point because they both got 4 and Angry Birds movie only got 3, which might have been generous, but I don't think. I think it's just about a 3.
Yeah.
So until next week, at which point there might be something else to watch. I might have to go back into cinemas and watch Playmobil the movie. Which
And I shall probably have to see Horrible Histories or something.
Oh no, you've got Blinded by the Light.
Blinded by the Light, yes, that's right. Oh, I have got something to watch. That's a relief.
Yeah, you got Blinded by the Light, or you've got The Art of Racing in the Rain.
Oh, yeah.
I know. It just sucks the life out of you saying it, doesn't it? It really, really does.
It does.
Oh, that's such a bad title. Oh my God. Oh, it hurts. It hurts. All right, we should hopefully have something fit in the cinemas that we have seen by next week. We will see you then. Thank you very much for putting up with us until this point of the show.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for Me Too, and goodbye for Me Too.
Goodbye. Goodbye.